Hey everybody, welcome back to the Soul Pod. This is Stacy. This video is for anyone who has ever had the sense that there's something missing, they're not quite enough. This is hopefully going to be a reminder of a larger truth. The Japanese American Buddhist teacher, Koshin Agui, hopefully I pronounced that right. That's how it's spelled, and I'm not a native Japanese speaker. But a great quote. He said, "A flower does not think of competing with the flower next to it. It just blooms." The reason I want to share this is because we're all flowers and we're all susceptible to comparison in the modern day world, especially. We look at social media, you look at haves and have nots, what the neighbors are driving, what the neighbors are living in, how their house is decorated, what kind of dishwasher, washing machine, whatever appliances your neighbor has, your friends have, your cousins have, your brothers and sisters have, whatever it is. Comparison is the thief of joy. It's the thief of joy. We social media posts are the worst about this, where we'll see somebody curating this perfect life, and you meet them in real life, or see them, at home, and you're like, wow, they're as big a train wreck as me. But that comparison, oh man, it'll creep in, won't it? Has this ever happened to you? Uh, this is work that when you start doing it, and you realize that this person here is pretty excellent, focus here instead of focus out there, man, it's a big shift. When I was a kid, I've got a brother who's about 15 months older than me. Not that much older, 14 or 15 months, right? But just old enough that, when we were in Little League at 7 or 8 years old, he had about 20% more life experience than me, which is pretty amazing. Like if you look at that now, if I'm, say if I were in my midlife, that I'm talking to somebody who's been through a war, probably, like 20% more life experience is significant. But we don't think about this as kids. My brother had about 20% more life experience than me, like 18 to 20%, which motor functions are higher, his ability to do stuff is better. And it always took me down a notch watching him do stuff, because my brother was like Superman. Like he could play baseball better than me, he could catch, he could throw all these things better than me. But of course he could. He had significantly more life experience than I did, even though he was, barely a year older than me. But as a child, I didn't know that. I was constantly comparing to my older brother, going, man, wow, man, if I could only be that cool, if I could only be that strong. And one of the things it did is it made me really, really not like Little League. I was destined for failure, because, the comparison with my brother made me think, well, what's the point? What's the point? I can't, Sam can run circles around me, like I'm never going to get that good. Right. And so I never really embraced Little League. And at some point I just gave it up. Right. I had a mitt for years. It looked like it had never been used. It's like, just set in the closet after that. So, but that's what I'm talking about. The comparison is the thief of joy. No matter what it is we're comparing ourselves to, well, we compare ourselves to other people, other things, social media, the neighbors, all the things I've mentioned. When we start doing that, is we start minimizing this. We start minimizing the importance of what's going on here. This is the flower we should be concerned about. What is it doing? How it's blooming? Rather than keeping up with that particular flower, like, oh, look at the colors that flower is doing. I got to do colors like that. No, you don't. No, you don't. You got to do your own colors. No one else can do your colors like you. And if you're not doing them, the world is getting cheated, because they're not getting to see your true colors. They're getting to see an impression you're doing of the flower next to you. Don't do that crap. Don't do it. Don't cheat the world of your beauty because you're trying to emulate someone else's. You get that? Dale Carnegie, in his book, and he's got a lot of really good books. I'm gonna share a link to How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's in the link below. But this is from his book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, which was written in 1948. So this is some advice that's been around since grandpas and great grandpas. And what he said was, don't envy or imitate others. Be yourself. Congratulations, you are unique. That was part of it, his advice for how to stop worrying and start living. Like that title, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And this piece of advice, directly linked. Like the more we worry about imitating others, the more we worry about trying to be like someone else, because we think that's the key to being cool, being good, being happy, being whatever. That's when we start losing it. We stop being able, we're worrying and we're not living, right? So stop worrying and start living. And one of the big keys to doing that is just stop trying to emulate anyone else. Be yourself. Be the person that you are in the mirror. And if you're not comfortable with that, get comfortable with that. Figure out a way, because there's one of you. You are one of a kind, one amazing, one of a kind person on this planet. No one else can do you but you. The challenge with envy, one of them is that, like the problem with it is that it erodes. It erodes us. The more we look at other people's lives and go, oh man, I wish I had that car. I wish I had that house. I wish I had that spouse, whatever it is. Wishing doesn't get us there. It just erodes us. Instead of looking at life, when you catch those thoughts creeping in, the why not me? Why not me? Instead, what's my next step should be what comes to your mind. What's my next step? What's my next step? Because it's about you. It's about making you the best you can be. You are becoming today the person you will be the day that you die. You want to be exactly as you are today? Or do you want to be something better? So here's one of the ways you can do that. Here's a nice little tool you can use. We all have moments where we know we can look in the mirror and go, well done, right? Well done. That's what you got to do. You got to celebrate your wins. Celebrate your wins. When you get something right, no matter how small it is, it doesn't matter. Like maybe you made just the most amazing salad for dinner. You're just like, damn, that was a fantastic salad. I make a salad. It comes to mind because I have this salad I call the big ass salad, which every time I make it, I'm like, man, no restaurant in the world can make a salad exactly the way I like it, but I can. Like that's a small win. And it's celebrating little bitty successes like that are bigger ones, but you start somewhere. You can start with the little stuff like that and you can work up to it. And actually what'll happen is that as you're celebrating your little successes, you're patting yourself on the back because there's two of you in here, right? You got that ego self as well. The ego self's the one you got to tame. But, you'll find that you'll have two voices, and one of the voices can be very encouraging if you let it. Get that ego voice, try to choke them out a little bit. Quiet you. And, you got to feed the good wolves, right? Your better wolves got to get fed, because if you let the other ones howl, it's not a good thing. So celebrate your wins. And as you start ticking off the little wins, you'll start finding you get bigger and bigger and bigger wins. You find that you start doing things that maybe you were like, oh, I would have never tried that, or I never would have, endeavored to get that far out of my comfort zone. And you'll find yourself doing that and more regularly. And as you do it, you'll actually get to the point where you no longer celebrate your wins, because now it's just your normal. It's just your normal. This is, oh, I just did that thing. And people are like, oh, wow, you did that thing. And you're like, yeah, it was fun. It happens. I'm telling you, it's pretty amazing. So celebrate your wins, every little win. It'll get you out of that rut really quick. Another beautiful thing about when you're celebrating those wins is that, you see, we're so used to comparing ourselves to others' highlight reels. We're like, oh yeah, look at that, look, they did that, they did that, they did that. And again, comparison's a thief of joy. But when you're celebrating your own wins, it doesn't worry about other people's highlight reels. It's only worrying about what you're getting right. You're giving yourself props for getting a solid reaction to whatever it is you did. You are feeling good about your accomplishment. You're feeling good about whatever that thing was. And other people's highlight reels stop mattering. More and more, they just start to fade into the background, because it's nice. You can see, at some point what'll happen is you'll see people's highlight reels of their life, and you'll go, hey, excellent work, man. Congrats. What was that like? You won't be needing to compare yourself to them. You'll just be celebrating their wins too. It's a natural progression that happens when you celebrate your own wins and you stop worrying about competing with the rest of the world. You're just being the best you. You get it? So this is your challenge. This is your challenge. I won't always give you a challenge, but on ones where I think they're useful, I will. So if you want it, stay tuned. Here we go. Your challenge this week is to, when you catch any kind of like comparison creep coming in, like you've got this thing where, whatever, the person down the hall at the office got something they did that was cool, or whatever it is. You feel some comparison creep in. Catch yourself. Catch yourself. Pause in that moment and just breathe. Redirect your pride, like, or whatever it is that's driving that, and flip it to praise. When you catch yourself doing that, see, this is actually a neurological thing, because what you're doing is you're rewriting your neural pathways of reaction to these things. When you catch yourself recognizing that someone else is doing something or having some success, and you're doing that comparison thing, stop yourself, take a deep breath, and just redirect. Think about what you've gotten good, what you're happy about with yourself, not by comparing with them, but by simply just saying, wow, okay, let's focus here. Let's focus on this, not that, because you're changing the habit, right? You're changing the habit. And if you do this, do this every time you catch yourself this week, you'll start developing that habit. Now, the longer you do it, the more it will become reflexive. Typically, a habit takes 21 to 28 days. Neurologically speaking, through the research, this is what it shows. If you go 30 days on changing a habit, you're going to change a habit, period. That's just the way it works. And now, if you've had the habit for a very long time, it's more likely to try to sneak back in, so you have to work on it. But this is how it begins. When you catch yourself doing the comparison thing, shut it down. Focus on this person. Focus on making this person happy by looking at the things that you're getting right. Right? Got it? I'm going to leave you with one final quote that I really like, and it's from Jordan B. Peterson. He said, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who anyone else is today. It's only about improving you day to day. That's it. It's not about trying to catch up with someone else. It's about making you better and better each day. Trying to keep up with someone else or catch up with someone else doesn't make you better. It only makes you in competition. So compare yourself if you want, but compare yourself to the earlier version of you. Again, you're becoming today the person you'll be the day you die. The only way that you change that is by saying, how am I better today than I was yesterday? And slowly improving on that as you go. If you must compare to an earlier version of you. And as you go, you find that brings you a lot of joy rather than anxiety that you get from comparison. Thanks for being here, guys. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the show. Click the button. More followers, the better. More people follow this channel, the more likely I am to keep knocking out videos. I really enjoy it, and it means a lot to me that you guys are here. So don't think it's any small thing when I get a click. It means a lot to me. Thanks so much for being here. If you haven't checked out the Soul Podcast yet, check that out. I think you'll like it. If you like podcasts, it's longer versions of ideas like these, and just looking at the human journey. Thanks, guys. Talk to you on the next video.